Coming up next on The Voice of Alabama Politics, panda bears escape. Also, the V-Team takes a look at worsening Alabama prisons. And we need Alabama solutions to Alabama problems.
You did not.
Now, let's get one thing quite clear. I most definitely told you.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
Didn't.
Yes, I did.
Didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, this isn't an argument.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. It's just contradiction.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
It is not.
It is.
Alabama solutions, baby. That's what we got. All this and much, much more coming up next on The V. Welcome to The Voice of Alabama Politics, where we tackle the tough issues so you have the hard facts. I'm your host, Bill Britt, and today I'm joined by attorney at law and Democratic operative Beth Clayton.
Hello, hello.
Susan Britt.
Words cannot describe.
Yeah. And Josh Moon, investigative reporter and columnist for APR. Welcome all.
Oh, how are you? How is everybody?
You know, Susan, you wear so many hats.
I know.
And once I shut up, I realized you'd prefer it that way. But anyway, welcome all.
That'd be
Interesting. You know, we've been talking a little bit about the word bipartisan is not something that you hear very often anymore. We reach a solution, even if it's Democrat and Republican. One of the things that Kay Ivey has said, whether you love her or hate her, she has said, when addressing policy initiatives, mostly, Beth, that we have Alabama problems and we need Alabama solutions. I happen to agree with that because I think best policy for a state is homegrown. I think best policy for a city is homegrown. I think it's better that way. But we have national policies now. We have two parties that insist on a top-down management style. So it's very difficult to get things done. Kay Ivey did it with the gas tax, but kind of give me your thought and give us all your thoughts on, is there a chance for anything such as an Alabama solution to Alabama problems anymore?
I think so, and I think Alabama Democrats have been trying to do it. I mean, there have been times when we've put forth plans that have been the Republicans' idea, and they still shoot it down because I think the only thing the Alabama GOP hates worse than bipartisanship is bisexuality. Like they just can't get their head around it.
I wasn't expecting that one to come out.
But no, I mean,
I have some evidence. Is that not true?
Think about, though, I mean, even to take it on to a national level, Obamacare was a Heritage Foundation idea. You slap Obama's name on it, and all of a sudden they hate it. So I don't know how we get to an Alabama solution when one side is hell-bent on not doing anything if the other side thinks it's a good idea.
Well, I mean, Josh, the Democrats give the Republicans cover on some issues that they need to do, and they get little in return.
Yeah. First of all, I think the term Alabama solution is probably like a national punchline. That's when things go bad. That was the Alabama solution. I think that you're right. And you heard a lot back when Walt Maddox was making a run for governor of Republicans who would privately say, man, I sure hope that Walt wins so we could do some things and we could blame the Democratic governor on this stuff and we could pass some taxes that we need to pass and get some things really pushed through that we could do, or not do some of the stupid crap that we're going to have to do to pander to everybody and to try to out-pander the other Republicans, because we can say, well, we'd love to do it, but the Democratic governor wouldn't do it for us. And so you're right, the Democrats have given a lot of cover to some folks here. It would be nice if every now and then, some folks work together and maybe pass a solution that didn't benefit the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, but benefited the people.
But I have to say for the Democrats, too, I know last session there were several bills that went through that the Democrats said, okay, we'll vote with you as long as we come back and readdress these issues later, only to go ahead and pass that piece of legislation to have the door slammed in their face after it was over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
if I were-
should have Medicare expansion right now.
If I were our
Medicaid.
minority leader, that would have happened one time. And I'm like, no, next time, if y'all want our vote on this, we're voting on our thing first, and y'all are going to put your money where your mouth is.
It seems to me these days, and I could be wrong, because anything that seems moderate or that seems to be acceptable to generally most people is considered either too right or too left or too something. You cannot, everything has to be labeled. I mean, I got an email from this joker who said, well, nobody watches your show. And I thought, well, you do. I guess you're the nobody that watches it. He said, and your liberal ideas are out of step because 95% of Alabamians are conservative. Well, I don't know why those Democrats who vote Democrat are conservative. Are they just trying to fool
I mean,
us
that
with
40-something percent of them?
Yeah, they're 45% or so that people are apparently just really conservative and voting the wrong way.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe they can't read. I don't know.
Well, and the other thing that astounded me is he said he was willing. He was ready to go to war, potentially kill other Americans who didn't agree.
Liberals.
And that is very, very disturbing. I mean, I've got several emails like that, so I may be getting one dead cross because you get them from time to time.
It's easy to confuse crazy.
Where they're
is
ready,
what it really
ready
comes
to kill
down
people.
A lot of crazy people that email us all. So
Yeah.
but
I mean,
there are good ideas out there.
Yes.
Is the point.
That is right.
And there are good ideas that would service a lot of people.
Yep.
And I think that we lose a lot of ground here by attaching labels to it.
Yep.
And everybody's guilty, not just the politicians. There are a lot of people that would benefit greatly from, say, Bernie Sanders' idea. If you look at some of his ideas, I'm not advocating for Bernie Sanders. He's not my favorite guy or anything else, but I'm saying if you look at his ideas, there are probably a lot of people in this state who would benefit greatly from them,
right.
Much more so than the conservative ideas that are out there. But they shoot it down immediately because it's Bernie the socialist.
Well, Bernie drives me crazy, but we needed more time on this next issue. We're going to have to jump on it real quick. Steve Marshall has said that he opposes the most modest marijuana legislation probably in the nation. It's very modest, but he's against it because he's thinking that people are going to get addicted to marijuana and it's going to be like the opioid crisis.
Well, now I want to know why I went to law school and not to medical school.
Did he go to law school? And you remind me, some really crazy people have passed the bar. I could do it too.
But yet, opioids, medical marijuana, not in the same class. No. I'm sorry. They're just not.
Also, it's just not addictive, guys. Come on. Let's just be real about this. Nobody's getting addicted to marijuana and breaking into houses to buy more weed. It's not a thing that happens.
It's not something you have withdrawals from.
No, it is not. Psychologically, you can. It depends by what do you mean by addiction,
Yeah,
right?
there's no physical addiction to marijuana.
Right.
I mean, there's a psychological addiction to it. But there were 47,000 people who died from opioids in 2017. There have been 0 people ever to die from marijuana overdose.
There have been a lot of people who thought they might have died because they got too high, but
Well, we got a couple of seconds.
Really happy about
couple of seconds here. If we can alleviate the pain and suffering of people that need it, why wouldn't we do it? Alcohol is much more dangerous and addictive, Steve, than marijuana. But anyway, we're going to leave it right there. You're watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. When we come back, we're going to take another look at prison deaths in Alabama.
What a great opportunity for your success. Adding 500,000 highly skilled employees to our workforce by 2025 is how we stay ahead in Alabama. Our economy is stronger than it's been in years, and a skilled workforce is more important than ever. Things move fast, so choose your path. Your success is waiting, plus a great future for Alabama. Success Plus. Go for it.
Hey man, what are you doing today?
Playing the game. Thought I'd go out for a drive later maybe. Text some friends while I'm doing it. Scroll through social media. Kill a family 4 and a head on collision.
Cool, man.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Welcome back to the voice of Alabama politics. Josh, a report came out this past week that projects that if the situation with pardons and paroles stays the way it is right now, our prison population will increase by almost 4,000 this year, simply because there's only two ways to stop overcrowding. How many people do you put in? How many people you let out? No matter how big the prison is, that's where it comes down to. They're not letting people out.
Yeah, this is one of those Alabama solutions, I think, we were talking about earlier.
Well, I knew I was going to regret bringing that up.
I don't think we know how math works. But yeah, look, this has been
Don't
something.
forget to account for the ones who are going to die while they're incarcerated.
Right, true. This started, the problem with pardons and paroles started with a very real problem that was brought up by Darrell Bailey.
Right.
And there were some folks that were let out who should not have been let out, who then committed some crimes almost immediately. Anyone who took a good hard look at their life in prison would have been able to guess that these folks are probably not reformed.
Right.
You know, they had some issues there. That doesn't mean you go and shift all the way to the other side, which is what we've done here, and just decided we're not going to let out anybody anymore. Now, we've set these standards for a reason here, and we have parole for a reason, and there are people who have been rehabilitated prior to their sentences being up, and there are people who we could let out right now today, and we're pretty confident they probably wouldn't commit any further crimes. So this is a problem that we have, and we too often go this other way and think that there's just a right or a left response to this, or a good or a bad response to it, and I think that's the problem that we're having here with this now.
Well, and I agree. I mean, again, we have to have pardons and paroles to do their job, and not these knee-jerk reactions where we're just letting nobody out. Beth, you brought up something that's I think very important, is that, people are getting murdered in prison. On New Year's Eve, to cap off 2019, we had the 14th homicide in Alabama prisons that they've let us know about. I mean, we had to chase that story down for weeks before they would actually admit that there was another homicide in Holman Prison.
Right. I mean, it's unheard of, and these are Eighth Amendment issues, and these kind of issues are why the federal government is breathing down our necks to get our prisons under control. And I think a lot of this is you've got a guard to prisoner ratio that is just unconscionable, and I don't know how these guys are expected, and women are expected to go in at $8-10 an hour and get in the middle of a prison fight. I mean, good grief, what would you do if you were in the middle of it? I mean,
not get in that.
Right.
I'll mop up the blood for $8 an hour, but I mean, that's,
Some of the prisons that we've toured, it doesn't matter. You got 300 men in a room. You got two COs at the front. You can't see past the first cot, much less see somebody getting beaten in the back of the room, because there's not enough correctional officers in there.
You're going to have to solve it through a bunch of different ways. And I know that they're up against it from a money standpoint, and I understand that. And I understand that there's not a lot of public will to fix the thing here, but you're going to have to do it. And if you want to solve a bunch of the problems, you're going to have to throw some money at it, and you're going to have to pay the correctional officers a decent living wage and give them some benefits and some
there
retirement
you go with your
benefits.
Bernie ideas.
I know. But if you want to stop these people from taking contraband in, if you want to actually get them in there to stop the fights and do some things, you're going to have to give them a job with a pay that they don't want to lose, that they're fearful of losing.
Right. Well, the thing is, and that is a miserable job, and the pay is lousy. The upside is, if you're actually good at it, you can climb the ladder and do something. But the problem is the starting pay is so terrible. I mean, they've raised it recently, but I had one CO look at me one time. He said, Britt, I'm the one in prison. He said, I volunteer to be in prison 8 to 15 hours if they pay me overtime because I need the paycheck.
Yeah, and listen, this is not, Andy Dufresne in red ain't walking through the door over there. You know what I mean? This is not, Shawshank.
Yeah.
These are real life problems that they have, and these guys go in every day, and they're fearful for their lives, and rightfully so. I mean, look what's happening in the prison.
Well, it is time, I think Senator Cam Ward, Representative Judge Jim Hill, some other smart people, Governor Ivey, Commissioner Dunn, they are trying to fix these problems, Susan. It just is not going fast enough.
It's not going fast enough, and there's so many of them. There's so many different areas to address from the housing.
They're not trying. They're not trying to fix it. We've reported.
No, it circles back though to the pardons and parole issue too. Like you've got people sitting in prison taking up a bed because they wrote a bad check or because they got caught for the third time with weed in their pocket. Let those people go about their lives and get jobs and be productive, and let's move on and keep the people.
If they were trying to fix it, we would have press release after press release after press release of things that they've done. They've released nothing, and we've had to chase down every single thing that they've done.
Well, that's true.
And the majority of it have been things to skirt the rules and to get underneath it by hiring people that aren't really COs and doing things that are nonsense.
Oh, I thought that was rain. The black cloud moved in so quickly.
Hey, reality, baby, reality.
Well, we've come a ways from the lock them up and throw away the key mentality. But one of the reasons you can never get traction on this stuff is because the lock them up and throw away the key crowd doesn't understand that we cannot treat human beings like we would treat
garbage.
The lock them up and throw away the key people need to go see the facilities, and if for nothing else, keep in mind the correctional officer that's having to be in this situation every day.
It's not only that, though, Susan. It's the lock them up, throw away the key crowd. There's an amendment they really like, right? They really like number 2. Okay, well, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All deal with our criminal justice system. Well, 6, I think, doesn't. One of them is civil. Anyway, point is our criminal justice system and how we treat people when they don't follow the rules of society. So if you like your Constitution, you really like safe prisons.
Yeah, but we like the Constitution when the NRA has lied and there's been so much propaganda that somebody's coming to take your gun away. I own guns. I am not worried about someone taking my gun away. It is just they're sold the bill of goods and they believe that this is actually going to happen.
Well, and the other problem is that people love the part of the Constitution that they want to love. They don't read the rest of it.
All right, well, it's like the Bible, you can pick and choose, but you're probably wrong. All right, we'll be right back with some more news and opinions. You're watching The V.
A lot can change in 5 years, except those smile lines you treated with Bellafill. Because that's about how long Bellafill will keep them smooth and filled. 5 years. Now you can always look your best without all those injections, appointments, and costs. Bellafill is the only dermal filler that stimulates and maintains collagen growth long term. Now time is on your side.
What are you doing today, babe?
I thought I'd head down to the lake with the guys, do a little fishing. Of course, none of us will be wearing our seatbelts. I'll lose control of the truck, wrap it around a tree, and kill us all.
Okay.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
The Energy Institute of Alabama promotes reliable, affordable, and clean energy to help grow our economy, create high-paying jobs, and build public support for Alabama's energy industry. The Energy Institute of Alabama is the best source of energy industry information and how it affects households across the state, from convenient energy production to alternative fuels, to solar power and beyond.
Welcome back to the V, the voice of Alabama politics. Well, we had a lull, and then this past week, just all heck broke loose, and the panda bears escaped their cages. They're out in full force. Bradley Byrne came out this past week and criticized anybody of color he could think of that might have a weird-sounding name. And Susan, you know, what? It's weird.
Weird sounding name.
Weird sounding name, you know. Ilan, is it Ilan Omar?
Ilan Omar.
Omar and Colin Kaepernick.
Kaepernick.
That's what I told you, it's a weird sounding name. I had a Colin Kaepernick one time.
All good Americans?
Yeah.
Was that in theater
and a
school,
good
or was that
football
when you
player.
lived in New York?
But not somebody that is loved in Alabama. But none of these people have anything to do with Alabama, Susan. So why is Bradley Byrne all of a sudden concentrating on people of color who may not be loved in Alabama?
Well, mainly because he's slipping in the polls, probably.
Yeah.
I've become convinced that the problem with Bradley these days, as opposed to the Bradley we used to know, is that he's put on an Edgar suit. You know, from Men in Black.
Oh, from Men in Black, yeah.
Men in Black. Is it that it's, you know, the things that he's doing and things that are coming out of his mouth, it's just nothing I ever knew.
Instead of eating sugar like Edgar, he's spewing venom.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Beth, do we really need to get that far into the gutter these days to win elections?
You shouldn't have to. I mean, this stuff's just blatantly racist. It's ridiculous. And, you know, I don't understand why Bradley Byrne can't tell us the accomplishments he's had in the House and his plans to lead in the Senate, why he's having to go down this rabbit hole, except for that, you know, as Josh said, you know, when we were in prep for the show, because he thinks Alabamians are too stupid to actually listen to what he has to say.
Well, you know, I think it's interesting. Stanley Adair, who's running for
Who is? I didn't know Stanley Adair was.
Stanley Adair.
Stanley Adair is running for Senate. He's running against Bradley Byrne. And
I will ask again.
Jeff
Like,
Sessions.
who is that?
Hell is Stanley Adair?
He's a very nice guy.
You don't
He's
know
got
who he is
no
either.
track.
You don't
You have no idea who this guy
Pick
is.
him out of a lineup with the Beatles. No idea.
Well,
Not condemning him in
he
any way.
came out and
Nobody
attacked
knows who he is.
everybody.
Well, of course he did, 'cause nobody knows who he is. You can do it from the shadows.
It was fantastic. I loved how he just absolutely just blew everybody up this week. But anyway, right now it looks like Tuberville, Sessions, it's their race to lose. Bradley's dead a distant third.
Even with his burning crossfire commercial that he had.
Well, yeah, it's just not working.
All the people
I
of
mean,
color.
look, this has worked for decades. I mean, George Wallace, who was a progressive, lost his first race because he was not racist
enough.
But he became the George Wallace that everybody knows.
Yeah, absolutely. So it does work. It shouldn't work, but it does because we're playing to people's fears, the fear of the other, fear of the unknown, and all that.
But you know who's looking better and better to me right now, though, is Doug Jones, because you know what, like not only is he doing like not racist nonsense, but he has, you know, my phone does not ring 800 times a day with telemarketers calling me and robocalls, and that is because of Senator Jones. And if that doesn't win him re-election, I don't know what.
Well, if he were a Republican, he would be sliding into that seat like it was
for life.
built for him. But
Yeah, for
because we can't see the difference between a good senator and a Republican senator. You know, just because they're a Democrat doesn't make them bad. Just because they're a Republican does not.
Like
make
we were talking
them
about in the
good.
first of the show.
And of course, Doug Jones has passed more bipartisan legislation.
There you go with that dirty word again.
Well, there you go. Can't have that.
Listen, if you wanted somebody to actually do the job, it's pretty apparent who you would vote for.
Well, he's done a great job. Nobody can point at his record. All they can is make up stuff about impeachment, and they make up stuff about him. I mean, Terry Lathan can make up the best stuff ever that she tweets out, but it's made up. You know, it's just over the top stuff. But this week, something happened. The FarmPAC, which is the campaign arm of Alpha, endorsed Jeff Coleman for District 2.
Did he pay them with his top lip? Like, what happened to it?
Why do y'all say such mean things? You're as bad as Trump.
No, because Trump criticizes women, I criticize men. I'm equalizing the playing field here.
Okay, Jeff is
Only lying through his teeth.
Jeff's a wealthy businessman from the Dothan area. He is running against Barry Moore and Troy King and 35 other people.
Yeah, really.
But those are the top ones. You know, Troy King has a great name ID, has won that district many, many times. Barry Moore, likewise, has won 2 elections down there. Josh, it's really going to come down to, I think, these 3 characters and who can put up the best face to take that seat.
So to speak, yeah. I'm sorry, we're back to the I think you're right. And there is there is a Democratic candidate that would be there, depending on who wins the primary. But it's I don't like any of them. So, I just don't.
Well, there you go.
Alpha's the first people I found to say something nice about Coleman, so I'm just glad to see somebody's on.
Well, I've talked to him several times. Nice guy. Troy King, we've known for a long time. Troy King is always.
I don't dislike Troy. I think
Troy has done a good job when he was AG. Some may argue that's not
a lot
true,
of name recognition there.
But I don't think there are any bad candidates. I think they're just candidates. Well, maybe they are, but there's 35 of them. How would I know? Could Stanley Adair could be running there too? The thing is, we're going to vote in the next
in March.
In March.
March 3rd.
And I don't know that people are actually even paying attention yet.
I think there's so much. I find myself getting overwhelmed, and it's my job to know what's going on. And so if I'm overwhelmed, your average moderate information voter has to be overwhelmed right now. So I'll make it easy. Just bubble the little D on the ballot, and you're good to go. But no, I think it's information overload and too many people yelling in echo chambers.
But let me make it simple. All right, go to everybody's website. Just go and search for their website. Go to their website and look for their actual solutions to problems. And if you don't find any solutions to problems on their website, which they have all the time in the world to create, then they don't have a solution to the problems.
Right.
Vote for the person who has the best solution to your problems.
That's right. And I would encourage people to vote their conscience and based on the information that they have and not on the letter behind their name, right?
And it is a secret ballot. Your neighbors can't tell who you voted for.
That's right.
Who you
Exactly. All right, we're going to leave it right there. You've been watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. You watch us because we watch them.